Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost.
This is Nathan from RunDreamAchieve.com. Today's topic I want to go over how to improve your lactate threshold. Running at your lactate threshold is you're running closer to around 88 to 90% of your maximum heart rate, so improving your lactate threshold is absolutely essential, especially in the longer races, the 10K, the 5-mile distance, the 10-mile half marathon, and marathon distance. You want to be able to get to a point where you've trained in effectively and efficiently enough that you are able to you're able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up, so that you sustain your race pace for longer periods of time, and preferably longer than your competition. Improving your lactate threshold is difficult. It takes time. It's not like you're just going out and running aerobically every day. Like I said in other videos, just about anybody can go out and run easy for a certain amount of or miles, but it's an art form to run fast, and teaching the body to improve its lactate tolerance takes extreme amounts of very hard anaerobic effort. So again, you have to focus on doing one VO2 max workout per week where you're running much faster than your anaerobic threshold or your lactate threshold. You improve the body's lactate threshold by stressing the energy systems of the body. So when you're running at your VO2 max, you're running at your maximum oxygen uptake, the point where we can only really run a few seconds to a few minutes at those types of efforts. You're running significantly faster than your anaerobic threshold. Your lactate threshold is the point where lactic acid starts to build up in the bloodstream. So we can run for, even when you're not very fit, you can still run at your anaerobic threshold for a few minutes to maybe, if some of you can do it for, a few miles, but it's still going to be very, very painful, and your heart rate when you're not very fit is going to skyrocket. But when you've adapted to the stresses that you're placing on your body, and you've focused on doing a 16-week block of training, or some of you, if your schedule doesn't permit it, focus on doing 8 to 12 weeks of training leading up to your race. But if you've done everything correctly, your body will adapt to the stresses you're placing on it, usually between 3 and 4 weeks. So if say you're focusing on doing a 3-mile tempo run, running at your lactate threshold, your body's gonna, the hard work you're doing today, the benefits of the hard work you're doing today will be seen in about 3 to 4 weeks from now. So you have to be very patient in terms of improving the body's lactate threshold. Again, it takes about 3 to 4 weeks. Once you've adapted to that, then you can start focusing on spending longer periods of time training at this particular effort. But to improve upon it and improve your body's lactate tolerance, you have to be doing really hard, aggressive workouts. Examples of that might be 8 to 12 300-meter repetitions sprinting up a hill, and then jogging or walking down, doing those hard intervals on the track, whether that's 16 400 meters in say 106 to 115, or 2 minutes to 2:10 for other athletes, with minimal rest. Again, giving yourself more rest when you're not as anaerobically fit and you're earlier in your training phase, and then as you get fitter, extending not only the amount of intervals you're doing, but also dropping the rest period between each one of those repetitions. That's the beauty of improving your body's lactate threshold, because as you get fitter, if you're tracking heart rate as well, when you first start off, everything hurts. So you may be trying to do, maybe you're during your tempo run, your heart rate goes up to say like 170. Now again, this is going to be also based on age as well. So if you're in your 20s and 30s, your anaerobic threshold might be around 170 to 175. If you're, say, my age, 45, your anaerobic threshold might be around 160, 155. So again, training at your anaerobic threshold or your lactate threshold, you're running right around 88 to 90% of your maximum heart rate. If you're training at VO2 max effort, again, your maximum oxygen uptake, you're running close to around 100% of your maximum heart rate. So again, very, very hard, aggressive workouts where you're spending only a few seconds to a few minutes. So those types of training, those types of intervals, those types of workouts will help you improve your body's lactate threshold. Again, it's just spending sufficient time and consistent effort over 16 weeks, preferably 20 weeks, training leading up to a marathon or a half marathon, that is going to help you be effective at improving your body's lactate threshold. Again, also implementing strength training into your routine is also very important. But as you know, in terms of strength training, you're not in the gym to become Arnold Schwarzenegger. So focus on very light weights and high reps. Those types of, medicine ball drills where you're throwing the medicine ball up. It could be 10 to 15 reps to your left, 10 to 15 reps to your right, and then throwing the ball up to the wall in front of you. Box jumps where you're jumping up and you're focusing on your form. You're focusing on pumping your arms and focusing on staying relaxed, working on your core, doing planks, sit-ups, push-ups, really stressing the body in terms of muscular strength as well. All of those things in combination will help you improve your body's lactate threshold, but it doesn't happen overnight, and that's the key. You cannot be in a rush to improve this component of your training because it does take time. It takes patience to improve the lactate threshold ability. Again, you're teaching the body to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up, and you can't do that by just running easy. If you're doing 100 miles a week and you're running 8 to 9 minute mile pace every single day, and say like you're training run a 2:36 marathon, you're going to have to do those really hard anaerobic workouts to improve your body's lactate threshold. Again, doing that speed development training where if you're doing repeat hills or you're doing repeat miles on the track with minimal rest, maybe when you're very early in your training, you should only give, at least in my opinion, I would only give myself about 3 minutes rest between each one of my mile repeats early on. But I would focus on, and again, like I talk about in other videos, as your body adapts to the hard anaerobic work you're doing, you want to start dropping the amount of time of rest in between each one of those hard intervals. That will also improve your body's lactate threshold, because again, you're running significantly faster than your anaerobic threshold, your AT pace, your tempo pace, and again, that's going to make that your ability to handle running and training at your anaerobic threshold. You're going to be able to handle that effort for longer periods of time. So that's why I always talk about in the running courses and the training plans I teach, the importance of extending the amount of time you're training at this effort, because we're going to be racing our road races right around the anaerobic threshold. It might be slightly faster than anaerobic threshold effort, but if you're wearing a heart rate monitor during your races, you're going to see that it averages right around your anaerobic threshold effort, your beats per minute. So it's important to improve upon this, to run significantly faster than goal race pace. I followed the same exact strategy, which helped me to break 2:20 for the marathon. I was able to run 14:18 for the 5K, 50:54 for 10 miles, 107:06 for the half, and eventually run 2:19:35 for the marathon. All of that built, that hard, effective training helped me get to a point where I could handle those high amounts of lactic acid buildup. And again, I'm not an athlete with a great deal of talent. Okay, there's plenty of other athletes out there who ran much faster than I did, but I had to utilize specific training and stay consistent over a long enough period of time to get to a point where I could run those types of times based on the amount of talent that I had. I had to rely more on my work ethic than my talent. And if you're low on talent, then stay driven, stay motivated for what you're doing. It may take you longer than an athlete with a high amount of genetic capability, but you can get the same results. It just might take you a longer period of time. So I hope this video is helpful for you all. Give me a like, share this video with as many people as you can. It helps the channel grow, more athletes to see these videos. Feel free to leave me a comment below if you have any comments about this video, or if you have any topic you want me to go over in my next video, let me know. And you all know I always respond, so I definitely appreciate your support, and I will talk to you all in the next video.